So, good morning. So let us see this. Let us see this example. So let us see this example. Uh, what are the different equation of motion about static equilibrium configuration and the natural frequency of a body A for small motion of BC? Neglect inertial effect from BC, assume K1, which is this spring, which is equals to 15 Newton per meter, K2 is 20 Newton per meter, K3 is 30 Newton per meter, and the weight WA, weight is given. This is the block has been put here. So the weight of this block has been given, which is a 30 Newton. So basically, they've said to you is what are the different equations that you need to find out. So basically you need to generate the equation of motion for this particular conditions. Inertial effect from BC means this, whatever the inertial effect which has been coming onto this particular block is to be neglected. So here, so this inertia effect from this particular BC is to be neglected. Otherwise everything will be remaining same. Now let us see how to solve this particular thing. So first, as usual, we are going to draw the free body diagram. So first, I'm trying to draw this BC stuff. If suppose you just assume, I will take my pointer. Suppose you just give, you can say the push in this direction, right? Then this particular beam will vibrate in this way, right? So first, I will try to draw this BC as a first thing in a free body diagram. So this is my BC, and this BC lamina is rotating about the point O in this direction. So this is my direction of motion, and this BC will be moving to this particular rotation. So this way this particular lamina is been vibrating. If suppose I will take the displacement of this BC is an angle theta, then this is my angle theta I am considering. Then I need to see what are the different forces which has been acting here. So on this lamina, the first thing which is going to act is here is, because here there is a spring, and there is a spring is K3. So I will say the spring force which will be act on this, that is on this particular side, Fs3 is going to act, which is opposite to the direction of motion, which is a spring force. And this spring force is being generated by spring number 3. Similarly, if you see there is one more spring is being put here, that is spring number 2, which has been attached here. As this lamina is going in this direction, the force which has been acting, spring force will going to act on a opposite direction. So here the Fs2 is also comes into the picture, which is in this direction. So this Fs2 I am putting here. So this Fs2 which is here, right? So for this lamina, the spring force will be there. Here we are not considering the inertial force on BC. That is because it has been given in the, here you can see you need to neglect the inertial effect from BC. So inertia force I'm not considering for this particular BC lamina. Now suppose I'm assuming the total displacement of this particular end B, and let us assume it is a YB, right? So if I found out the value of Fs3, what will be the equation? So Fs3, which will be the stiffness of spring number 3, multiplied by this displacement, which is YB. What is the value of YB here is? YB is nothing but this length, which is BC, multiplied by theta. So BC into theta, which will give you the value of YB, right? So this value, if I put the value of K3, which is given, which is 30 Newton per meter, then the value of Fs3 will come 30 into YB. Now let us go further. So let us try to analyze at point A. Now what is going to happen at point A? Point A is here. We have analyzed this lamina. Now I am trying to consider this particular point A and try to draw the free body diagram, and let us consider that how this will thing happen, because I need to consider the effect of this mass basically. So if I consider this is as a mass M, so mass is acting at point A. So at this point, there is a one spring is up and one spring is down. So see this, what is going to happen is, as this is going in, this is going downward. So definitely this K2 spring will try to push this particular A in this direction. So the displacement will be in this direction, okay, YA, and so on. So I am considering my displacement which is in YA direction. But however, the spring is also been connected with the lamina here. So here you can see this is also connected with the lamina at this point. And since the lamina is going in this direction, the displacement of A is also going to affect. So what I am considering, from point A, I am joining this particular spring. And as the spring is also been stretched, so this Fs2 which will be in this direction, and this particular end will be stretched to this length. And this length is nothing but it is YB by 2. So this will be having the displacement of YB by 2. So if I want to find out the effective or the relative displacement of point A, means there is a mass, then how I will calculate is Fs2, which is my second spring. This is the second spring, which will have a combination effect due to this and this, because it is connected with two ends. So what I will do is, first I will calculate this YB by 2, this YB by 2 minus YA multiplied by this K2, right? This is K2. So K2 into this effect. So if I consider the value of Fs2, the Fs2 will comes by this. Now, the third thing that I need to take it, that is, if I am considering the particular zone is in equilibrium, so if I can take the moment at point C as per the D'Alembert principle, then in that case, I can find out this sigma MC is equal to 0. Now what will come? So Fs3, which is this force, multiplied by this length, right, which is given BC. BC is the length is being given, which is 6 meter, 3 plus 3. So this will be 6 plus Fs2 multiplied by this, which is 3 is given. So 3 is equal to 0. Now YB value, you have this YB value. So if you put this Fs2 and Fs3 value, what we have calculated here, this and this, then you will get this particular relation, that YB is equal to 2 by 7 into YA. Then let us first, after this calculation, let us draw the free body diagram of mass A. So this is my free body diagram of mass A. So how I did, let's see this. Sorry, let's see this. This is my mass A, and I'm trying to draw the free body diagram because I need to develop the equation for vibration of this particular mass. So I need to consider this. So let us see this, how it is being considered. The first is Fi, which will be, so the inertia force which will be generated due to the moment of this mass, because this mass is having mass M. And since this mass is moving in this direction, motion is in this direction because of the stretching, the inertia force which will be acting in an opposite direction. Second, there is a spring force, because on this mass there is a first spring is being connected here. So Fs1 is going to act in this particular direction, which is opposite to the motion. Second, Fs2, the second spring is being connected here. So Fs2 here, which will be here. And the total displacement of the mass is Ya. Now let us try to find out all these forces. So Fi is equal to m into double derivative of displacement of mass A. So here the mass A is displaced to the you can say displacement of Ya, what we have said. So it is displacement is m. M is mass given is 30 into 9.81, so which will give you in the mass into Ya, which is the displacement of the mass and its double derivative. Similarly, if I want to find out Fs1, Fs1 is nothing but it is the K1 into displacement of the first spring, which is Ya, right? So if I put the value of K1, which is 15, and this is Ya. Fs2, right? Then you can calculate the value of Fs2, or I can take the D'Alembert principle here, considering this particular thing is in motion. So Fi plus Fs is equal to Fs2. This will come. So this is based on D'Alembert principle, considering the equilibrium of this free body. So if you put it this way, then Fi value you have it this, Fs value is you have it this. So you put this value, then you will get this particular thing in the this particular form, which is in this particular form, which is m star into Ya double dot plus k star into Ya is equal to 0. You will have some values here. So if you put this value and find out the value of m star and k star, and this value you put it into this equation, you will get the value of natural circular frequency. First, you calculate the value of m star and k star, bring those in this particular formula. So this will be your first answer. Second, based on this, you need to calculate natural frequency. This is your second answer, right? So this is your second answer. That is what is being given in the equation. I hope this is clear. So this is your third problem based upon this. So this way, I'm completing this undamped free vibration cases. Now let us move to the third dimensions, which is you can say now let us consider the damped free vibration cases. So I am taking this slide. Let's see that how the damped free vibration will comes into the picture. So let's see, now this is my second part of this PPT, and we are trying to develop the relation for damped free vibration case. So if I want to consider the damped free vibration case, first I need to see this, which is this diagram, which is my MST diagram. So what I did is mass M is being connected with the damper having the damping coefficient of C, and then it is being connected to the spring with the spring stiffness of K. Then in that case, the equation of motion will be M into U double dot of T plus Cu dot of T plus Ku of T. In such conditions, I need to consider three different cases in the case of damped free vibration. The first case I will going to consider is as overdamped case. When I'm considering the overdamped case, I will actually say, explain you a little later. Second case I will consider, which is called as the critical damped case, and third case I will going to consider, which is called as underdamped case. So under this three effect, this three will comes into the picture. Now let us see, let us analyze this particular solution and find out. So as I've said, I've connected this particular mass with the dampers and the spring, which have a total displacement of x of t. Let us assume that, and let us try to draw this free body diagram. So if I'm taking mass m here, so let us take mass m here, and on this mass there is an inertia force Fi is going to act. That is our first. Second is that spring is being connected, so Fs will going to come, and similarly the damping will come, so this value of FD will come. So this is my free body diagram. According to the D'Alembert principle, I will consider the equilibrium of this particular body, and then this particular mass will come. So Fi plus Fd plus Fs is equal to 0. I am resolving all horizontal forces. So if I put this value of Fi, which is nothing but based upon this, which will be mx double dot of t plus cx dot of t, which is the value of Fd, and plus Fs, which is nothing but kx, which is equals to 0. This equation we have seen how it has been coming. Now this equation, if I divide with the m, so this m will go down. So x double dot plus c by m into x dot plus k by m into x, which is equals to 0. As you know, the omega is equal to under root of k by m. So this k by m I can replace with omega square. So this equation will be formed into x double dot plus c by m into x dot plus omega square x is equal to 0, where I am considering this particular effect. Now for this particular, this is, you can see this is nothing but it is the differential equation, and you need to see the form of the solution for such type of differential equation. So if you see the differential equation and its solution from the mathematics, then this particular differential equation is having this particular form, that the solution in terms of this displacement, that is x of t, which is this, is equal to e raised to st, where s is the root of this particular equation, right? So this equation you can take in the form of ax square plus bx plus c, which is equals to 0. If I take in this term, then I am having x of t is equal to e raised to st. You have already seen this is my general form of this equation. So where e raised to st, where s is my roots of this equation, where s is the root, okay, roots of that equation. Now let us find out the first derivative. So x dot of t, so s will come out e raised to st, which is x dot of t. If I found out double derivative of this, again differentiate this equation, again s will come out, so s square into e raised to st. If you put this x dot and x double dot of t into the original equation of motion, which is this, okay, which is this, then m into x double dot, so which is s square into e raised to st plus c by m, I'm putting this equation into this equation, okay, x double dot plus c by m into x dot plus omega square into x. So if I put this value, then this value will be s square into e raised to st, that is x double dot plus c by m into x dot of t, where x dot of t is s into e raised to st, plus omega square into x of t. X of t is e raised to st, which is equals to 0. If I take e raised to st out, then this equation will be s square plus c by m into s plus omega square into e raised to st. Now you see the product of this and this is 0. So if you can say this value is the exponential value, it cannot be 0 anytime, right? So if you want a product 0, and if this cannot be 0, naturally this value should be 0. So I'm taking this s square plus c by m into s plus omega square is equal to 0. Now this equation, you can say this equation is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Can you see this? This equation is exactly like this. This is equals to 0. Now if you want to find out the roots of this equation, then you can find out the value of delta, which is nothing but minus b plus or minus 4ac upon 2a. I think you know this relation, minus b plus or minus this delta is nothing but b square minus under root of b square minus 4ac, something like this. And then you can find out you can this relations. So basically if you find out these two roots, which is minus b plus or minus root delta upon 2a. That is the formula. Then you will find out this root. One is for plus and minus. This value will come minus c by 2n plus or minus c square by 4n square minus omega square. So basically, when you are taking this particular thing into the design, it is depending upon two ratios. One is c by m ratio and other is omega, which is nothing but k by m ratio. So when you are doing the design for damp free vibration case, it depends upon two factors. One is c by m ratio, which is depending upon, you can say, whatever the value of damping that you are going to consider, and second is the omega, whatever the value of natural frequency that you are going to consider. Now, based upon this particular term, I'm going to define my three cases as this root is having these three mathematical possibilities. First possibility is when these roots are real and distinct. It is having two values. When these roots will be having a two different values, real number and distinct value, when I'm taking this value of c square by 4m square, c square by 4m square minus omega square is greater than 0. If I take this value is greater than 0, in this case minus c by 2m and plus this numerical number will have a two different numbers. So these roots are real and having two different numbers. So if I take c square by 4m square minus omega square is greater than 0, then this term will come c square by 4m square greater than omega square. So if I take m square on this side, so c square is equal to 4m square by omega. So the c square is equal to 4. So the c is equal to, so basically if I omega square is equal to k by m, if I'm replacing this value by k by m, then mm is going to be cancelled. So this value will be c square is equal to greater than 4mk. So c is greater than twice under root of mk, right? So this particular condition, I am supposed to say when your damping value is more than twice the under root of mk, I will say it is the overdamped condition. Okay, this is my overdamped conditions. Then second condition, where mathematical possibility is roots are real and equal. When the roots are real and equal, when this value is equals to 0. If this is 0, then I have a two different values, minus c by 2m and minus c by 2m for S1 and S2. So both the value is real number and both the value is equal if I take this value as 0. So if you take this value as 0, then this greater than will replace with the equal number, equal sign. So this c square is equal to 4mk. So c is equal to 2 under root of mk. When this value is coming, when this equal sign will come, this is the condition. I will say it is a critical damp condition. Okay, this is condition. I will say it is critical damp conditions. Third conditions in which I will say my roots are complex conjugate. When the roots will come as a complex number. When it will come, so basically if you see in this equation, if this value is less than 0, in such case, if this c square by 4m square minus omega square is less than 0, then definitely under root of minus 1 will come into the picture. So under root of minus 1 will come out from this because it is a negative value. Under root of minus 1 is, you say it is a complex number. So this is a third possibility will rise. So when it is a complex conjugate, then c square by 4m square is less than omega square. So c square is less than 4mk. So c is equal to, c is, you can say, less than twice under root of mk. So this is the condition I am saying it is a underdamped conditions. Okay, this is my underdamped conditions. Okay, so we have defined three different conditions. First is overdamped condition, when the roots are real and distinct, where my c square is greater than 4mk. Second, critical damping, when the roots are real and equal, while c is equal to twice the under root of mk, जिसको I will consider CCR or the critical damping value, which is this. And the third condition I have considered, which is underdamped case, when the roots are complex conjugate, where the c square is less than 4mk. So this is three conditions we have defined today. So I'm stopping my lecture. If you can have any questions, I'm happy to answer.